So, Elliot,
Hello.
what if I placed a bounty on your head and sent a horde of gunmen after you?
I would actually prefer it if you didn't do that.
But if I did, let's say I did, right?
I
Would you go about it in a John Wick fashion or a string of Home Alone style escapades?
well, the thing is, I don't think I'm really cut out for that life. I hated it when when you played Tig at school and I was like being chased by people. I sort of
Tig?
yeah,
It's
Tig.
fucking tag.
It's Tig.
No, it's not.
It is. But
It's
like,
literally a film about it. It's called Tag.
yeah, the film's good actually. I've seen it.
It is really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just, yeah, that's our recommendation for the week. No, I hated it because I hated being chased. I don't think I'd do very well in a situation where I was being chased by gunmen.
Possibly not, but I think you'd be good at the Home Alone style. Anyway,
I've never seen Home Alone. I've seen Tag, but I haven't seen Home Alone.
there's so many things wrong with you. Anyway, fortunately, for you at least, maybe not for me, there isn't a bounty on your head. However, well, quite. But there is a few bounties on a few Counter-Strike teams' heads. So I guess we've got to talk about that.
Yeah, it's it's been a little bit of a slow start to Blast Bounty in that nobody's claimed a big bounty yet, and I think
Well, Heroic claimed a bounty, it just wasn't a big bounty. And if you looked at that game without knowing, you wouldn't tell which team had the bounty on them.
I kind of assumed Heroic were the better team because they are the better team. Yeah, I think I kind of forgot that 3D Max they actually win some games. Don't they? They're actually not bad. But I still kind of just expect Heroic. Like 3D Max to me are like, you know how we would often say like Big or Virtus Pro were like the Big before Virtus Pro more recently were like they were the gatekeeper. Like if you're better than Virtus Pro, you're a top team. If you're worse than them, you're not.
Yeah.
3D Max are like that, but for the tier below. Like, if you're better than 3D Max, you're a good team. If you're worse than them, you're not worth considering.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. And it has made me want to ignore Bounty for half a moment. Because we both expect Virtus Pro are going to be a bit shit this year, right?
Yeah.
And I would have said Heroic if they hadn't have lost all 5 players. So who do you think the new gatekeeper of the top will be?
The Mongols. I think the Mongols have got a good shot. Like,
yeah, I think that's fair.
At like the top. Honestly, Falcons.
I feel like I expect them to be a bit better than that.
I think there's going to always going to be.
It's Heroic with Nico, so they should be a little better because Nico is as good as Nerds is. Nico is better than Nerds.
Yeah, I there's just something. It's also then with Zonic instead of Saw, which I think is actually probably quite significant. And I just think, I think there'll be 4 or 5 better teams than them, and I think they'll consistently be between like 6th and 10th, and it'll be a case of like the elite will be better than them always, and the non-elite will be slightly worse.
Well, until they sign Monacy.
Until they sign,
it just will happen.
Until they sign Monacy and or every other big player you've heard of.
Yeah.
Except Spigs.
So let's go back to Bounty then. Obviously, the first game, we're not going to fucking talk about that because it was FlyQuest versus MIBR, and I simply couldn't care less.
I think the only thing I'll say about this is apparently Regali's second map was already better than every single map Alistar ever had on FlyQuest. I don't know if that's true. Somebody told me it was, and I think I believe in magic, and I like to believe that that's true.
I mean, look. I don't like Alistair. I've got nothing against him on a personal level. He's probably a lovely bloke. The Aussie players tend to be. But he's not a very good Counter-Strike player. And it's very good he's gone. Other than that, Insani's a bit fun to watch. Let's move on.
I hate
'Cause-
MIBR. I hate them. They are genuinely my least favourite team. So I'm always happy when they lose. I've spent the last 6 months being on a tirade against MIBR. Every one of my opinions about any kind of format or tournament is based on how likely it is that I have to watch an MIBR game.
I'm trying to think who my least favourite team is now. I don't think it is MIBR.
It's probably FlyQuest.
No, it is FlyQuest, then it is. It was either going to be FlyQuest or Complexity, and it is FlyQuest.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, Complexity now, I just don't care about. So
that's the thing with Complexity
my
now.
headset's low on battery. I'm sorry. I'm gonna very distractedly plug in this horrendous wire. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, Complexity now. I just feel sorry for them. Like, it's gone past the point where you're sandbagging a Liege, and now you're just like...
Yeah. If anything, I quite like them, because they let Elige free and just decided they were just going to shoot instead.
You know what, actually, I can support that behaviour, so...
Yeah, they're like, you know what?
Complexity, you've got to pass for 6 months.
It was like when Jude Bellingham was at Blues at Birmingham, and we were just like, yeah, please, like, he wanted to stay, and we're like, no, you have to leave. For your good, you have to leave. He's like, no, I don't want, no, please go. Like, this is sad. This is sad watching you next to these players. Go do something with your career. That's what Complexity did to Elige.
Well, yeah, it's a shame Bellingham's shit and a dirty savage bastard.
Nonsense.
But that's
absolute nonsense.
Not the point. Anyway, let's go back to a 3D Max Heroic. Again, I just didn't really care. Do you know what I mean? Like, one's a French team. I'm never going to give a fuck about a French team. And the other one is a team that is destined to be blown to pieces in like 3 months' time.
Well, that assumes somebody actually, I think Heroic, I watch with a little bit of interest because there is a chance they're decent. Whereas 3D Max, I think, have hit their ceiling. I don't think they're going to go any further. Whereas Heroic, I don't know what their ceiling is yet, partially because I've never seen Tina.
Oh, he seems quite good, actually.
I'm going to call him Turner, I think. Tina Turner.
Yeah, we'll go with Turner.
Just because it's like Tina Turner, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that at his peak, Sun Pius is brilliant. So if they get like peak Sun Pius, and then like Tina Turner turns out to be really good, like there's a chance this team's actually decent. Whereas like 3D Max is, they're okay. I don't think they're ever going to be better than what they currently are.
No, not with their current team. They ain't going to be any better than that.
That's yeah.
But like with Heroic, right? This Turner fella, I'm quite impressed by him. Don't have a fucking clue who he is. I don't know where he came from. I'm gonna look now just for the sake of it. So
yeah, I'd sort of like seen the name before, but I just kind of ignored it.
You play for Gun 5, not a real team. Okay.
Gun 5. Gun 4 nowadays. Surely.
Right. Fuck off. Right, we need to talk about Sun Pius though, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I just said at his peak, he's brilliant. But that peak is...
Unfortunately,
fading into the distance quickly.
He went 39 and 48 against 3D Max in a full best of 3.
Yeah, I think... yeah, like his best map was a 13 and 11 on Anubis. Just like, it's fine, but it's not... like, for me to believe in this team, Sun Pius has to be, like, shitting on 3D Max. Like, he has to be taking the piss in the games like this.
Unfortunately, I think Sun Pius might just be a bum now.
Yeah, I think at the start of CS2, a lot of AWPers got worse, and I think Sun Pius kind of lost his magic, and I think some other AWPers lost their magic as well, but they just grinded until they got better, and he was on a crap team, and I think he probably just lost a little bit of interest.
Yeah, that's my main thing. I think he just doesn't care now. Yeah, and I think that
or at least if he cares now, I don't think he cared. I don't think he's cared for long enough.
No, but I don't think he cared on Falcons when it was going bad. I don't think he ever thought, like, I'm going to turn this around myself and be insane. Like, that was never a thought that crossed his mind. And now he's on this team with, like, I mean, come on. Like, who are these players, really? He ain't trying.
Look, yeah, I've watched xFlow before, and I thought he was bad. I just thought he was bad. I just thought he was really not very good. So people say, "Oh no, he always had the mechanics." I'm like, that's not what I saw. Maybe he's improved.
He was decent on the Anubis game, to be fair. I actually saw some value in him on that Anubis game.
He's probably better than I think, because when I saw him, it was on Eternal Fire, and that team until Wakadi was awful, and when I watched him, he was like noticeably the worst player.
I mean, the Dust 2, he top fragged for them. I actually didn't watch the Dust 2. I watched the Ancient and the Anubis. Wasn't particularly good on Ancient. Was quite good on Anubis. So I think he's one of them that, like, maybe for where they are right now, he's fine. But if they want any degree of consistency and to actually improve, then I think in a couple months' time, you're probably looking at him and you're like, okay, this fella is very up and down. Boot.
Yeah, perhaps.
But
then I don't think this team wants consistency. I don't think if you're this sort of team, you kind of want inconsistency. You want players who can go above their level one game and then below it the next. Because how else are Heroic ever going to do anything? Like, if they're consistently at their level, they're never going to make a top 8.
To be fair, mate, I think they just don't want this team.
Well, I agree, but
they made 10 million and then couldn't be asked to make a proper announcement.
Yeah, that's fair.
This team ain't surviving. They've got Madden and Milo on the bench.
Signing. Yeah. That was weird. Like, what was that about? Did they not want to be Swedish? Which I understand, but...
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to be Swedish.
Well, exactly.
But I don't know.
Was he not ready? I don't understand. Like, they announced he was on the bench for this event.
I've asked about it, and all I got told was, just put that he's on the bench in the roster article. I was like, were any reason given? Nothing, mate. So, fucking beats me, because I don't get it.
No, I've got no idea. It's all very weird with Heroic. I mean, I think they weren't planning on selling their core until they got a ridiculous offer and then had to panic bought like another team in the top 30.
Yeah, because they had to do what they've done, and that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the players, and look, if you're the core that they signed from Sangal, you have to think, look, I've got a chance now. Even if Heroic didn't want me, I've got a chance now to prove that I can be on a team that has higher ambitions, or put myself in the shot window for another team. I don't know. Like, you have a chance now if you're these players. Heroic are basically not sandbagging, but they're saying, let's just give these players... If they're good, we hit the jackpot, maybe we sell again. And if they're crap, well, we made 10 million, so we're not really that bothered. We'll go, dry our tears.
I do wonder how much they've spent on
bills.
Because I bet it's buckle.
It won't be a lot. I can't imagine
really
it's that
not much.
I would imagine probably about 500k for the three of them, but I don't know.
I doubt it's that much.
I don't know. They were decent. And you have to remember this was a last-minute thing as well, so there's a
maybe, but I'd like to know how much they spent on some pious.
I doubt it was a lot. I don't know.
Well, maybe Falcons just wanted to get rid of him and that brought it
so.
down, but I doubt it was like exceedingly cheap.
To be honest, they probably just included him as part of the deal.
Yeah, Falcons probably said, I just fucking have him. Like,
sure, we'll give you 6 million for your 3 players, or 7 million and Sunfires. That's probably what they said. I'm interested in this Heroic team because I don't know the players that well.
And look,
maybe they're fine. Maybe they're good. I don't know.
Maybe they are, and maybe in a few months' time, I'm like, wow, these guys are actually fun to watch. But
if they are good, Saw might be the best coach ever.
Yeah. He's not Blade, but he can be second to Blade.
He's the best. Look, has Blade ever had xFlow? No?
He's had Edward.
Yeah, and Edward looked terrible with him. What's your point?
Well, he still won a couple of events.
Yeah, he was in-game leading then. That's different. It's different to coaching. Anyone can in-game lead.
Well,
Move
I'd
on.
like to see you try. Yeah, I'm going to move
sick
on.
of heroic.
I'm going to move on. I was trying to anyway. Right, so the next match we had Liquid, 9 Pandas, and...
Do you think you could beat 9 pandas in a fight? Like 9 actual pandas?
No. Absolutely. Do you?
Because they're really clumsy. Like I feel like you could like...
Yeah, but they've probably got some like fucking weight behind them.
Yeah, but they're just like...
Do they have claws?
Look, Wile E. Coyote would beat like the Roadrunner in a fight. But Roadrunner always outsmarts him by just tripping him up. I feel like you could do that to 9 pandas. They're really dumb.
I can't believe that on a Counter-Strike podcast I've just googled, do pandas have claws?
I think they do. I'm not saying I would beat 9 pandas in a fight, but I think I could.
They have 5 sharp claws on each.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use... Have you seen
No, but
pandas?
look at these motherfucking... Like, look at them! Right? I ain't being funny. Okay, right. If there's 9 pandas in front of me, okay, like, maybe I'm hitting 1 or 2 with a little fly kick or whatever, but as soon as one swings me, I'm going to have a big-ass gash down my back, and I'm like, nah, fuck this, I'm going home. Like,
yeah, but like you could just trick them. You can just put like little traps down, and they'll fall for it every time.
Just wave a leaf in its head.
Yeah, it's like how like I wouldn't beat a zombie in a fight, but if they're quite slow. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Liquid beat 9 pandas in a fight, and it was even more one-sided than me versus 9 pandas.
Yeah, I mean. It's one of them, isn't it, where it never really felt like there was any threat to Liquid. Like, I think, if I
mean that
right,
from before the game, during the game, and after.
Yeah.
It never ever felt like they were going to lose.
I'm just double checking now. Yeah, so like on the Nuke game, Liquid were 9-3 up at the half, and then, like, before you knew it, it was 11-9. But you were still there, like, yeah, but okay, in a round or two, like, Nerds is going to clutch, or he's just going to rip 2 heads off. Or, like, Liquid are going to win this. They're going to win it 2-0. Like, there was no threat. And
this is a game we learned nothing from, I think.
Yeah, we learnt nothing from. Because Liquid should just beat teams like this every time. Yeah.
And they did, to their credit, which is good.
Yeah, they did.
That's a positive sign, but it doesn't really mean anything.
I think the only thing I would say is that, like, I still wish they'd signed an IGL.
Yeah.
Like, I still think that their T-sides are a bit lacking. And I still think that, you know, like, is JKS that needed? When you, like, you could have just had an IGL and maybe better team balance as a result. Like, is that crazy to say?
I think that is... I don't think this game has altered my perception of this team in terms of whether or not they need an IGL whatsoever. Like, even though JKS top frags, I'm still looking at it like, fine, but you haven't changed my mind yet. They were never going to. The only thing that could have like altered our perception would be like 9 pandas winning, and you go, maybe Liquid are even worse than we thought. But like them winning this was like, yeah, you'd expect so. Nerds are still good. That's what we learned.
Nerds being good was nice, I guess. Like,
Nerds is so good.
He is very good. I don't know if you saw the. Did you watch the Nuke game?
No, I was out.
Mate, he just hit this this P250 one tap on. I can't remember who it was, but he was in garage, and he was looking at Mini, and it was like the tightest angle that he's hit it on. It's just like, but like 30 seconds before that, he's just swung outside, one tapped another bloke Mini, and it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be fine for Nerds.
Yeah.
It's like, Nerds ain't going to be a problem on this team.
If anything, he should be so free because nobody else actually wants to be aggressive on this team. So he should just have freedom to just do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah. And it could
Only
be
Ultimate wants to be aggressive on this team.
It could be really good for him, and I guess it could end up being really good for them. But I guess at that point, it just kind of depends on whether Twist can effectively capitalise on Nertz's aggression.
Yeah.
And, well, that's yet to be seen.
I think it's a hell of a lot easier to in-game lead when you get open. Well, obviously. But, like, every great team has had probably the best entry fragger in the world. I think actually the only one, NAVI recently, you kind of would argue didn't.
Yeah. But that's only really because of fucking Donk.
Yeah, well, quite. But Donk's not an entry fragger in the same sense. He's an opener, to use the HLTV terms. But like, yeah, like
I
getting.
don't know, he was doing a lot for the most part. It was up until like pretty much the major where he started trading more.
Yeah, which he obviously should do. Like, it is such a waste to have him going in first.
Very ridiculous.
Like, look, I love Chopper, but send him in first.
Especially when half the team can't aim.
Yeah, pretty much. Zontix refuses to aim.
Zontix is trying to tie people's shoelaces, let alone kill them.
He annoys me. But yeah, no, like, it's so much easier to in-game lead when you get like 5v4s or even 4v4s quite regularly on the T side. And if you don't have the best in-game leader in the world, which Twist probably isn't, get a guy who's just going to get you openings and make his job easier.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think in 3 months' time, regardless of their placings, what you really want to look at with Liquid is just their 5v4 win percentage on the T side. And if that isn't... if they're getting in those positions a lot, and then they're not in the top 5 for that...
Yeah.
Get an OGL and...
Yeah.
Stop fucking about.
But then, like, what... I don't think there's that many great in-game leaders going around, and I'm not sure.
Don't think you need one. I don't think you need one. I genuinely think, and I know I've been a big advocate of him for a while, but I genuinely think if you just get Hooksy, like someone with a brain whose only job is to focus on his brain, they'd be fine. Because NAF, Twist, Nertz, that's a major win in Rifle Corps. And if Ultimate can get... No, it is. Don't tell me it's not. Don't tell me it's not.
What, NAF, Nertz, Twist, major winning?
Yes.
It's good. It's not.
Are you fucking mental?
It's not that good.
I mean, it's extremely good. What are you
Twist
on about?
is fantastic. Nertz is very, very good. NAF, no.
NAF is one of the best in the world in his roles.
Flat as to deceive for me. Flat as to deceive.
You're an idiot.
By definition, they're not a major winning core.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean. Stop being a
No, but
slut.
like, is that better than Donk on his own? No. Is it better than Nico? Like Nico, Magisk, Tesses?
Yes.
Arguably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's that. Magisk to Twist is pretty close. Nico's probably better. Well, Nico is better than Nertz, as you said earlier. And Tesses versus Naf, like, yeah, Naf's probably a bit better than Tesses.
I would say it's equal, if not better than Vitality's.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
I think all three of them are better than Mezzi.
I don't.
Who do you think is worse than Mezzi?
Naf.
I think you've got some bias, mate.
Maybe. But I've never thought Naf was that good. Like, he's good. I just don't think he's, like, superstar good. I think he's...
But he isn't, like, meant to be a superstar. And Mezzi isn't meant to be a superstar and isn't a superstar.
No. I just don't
think
Naf's that good.
Nertz and Twists can have as much impact on a game as Rops and Flames.
Yeah.
So then if you then have Naf, who is better than Mezzi... In this hypothetical...
Which I don't think he necessarily is, but...
Fine, but in this hypothetical, like... There are teams that have won majors with worse rifle trios than those three.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. But I think there's also better cores around, is all. I just think.
Like, I think whether they can win a major is nothing to do with those three, to be fair, because I think, like, you absolutely can win a major with those three players. Maybe you can't with Twist IGL in, and you know my thing with Ultimate. Like, I think Ultimate's fucking great if you put him against a team like Nine Pandas.
Who
But you put him against...
very well against, but,
Well, yeah. But...
He can't win a fight against Nine Pandas.
No, he can't. We have discovered this. But, you know, like, if you put Ultimate against, like, FaZe, Vitality, NAVI, Spirit, I don't expect him to go positive very often.
No.
Because I think they'll just punish him.
I think Ultimate's better than you think he is.
I think he could maybe be quite good if he changes his playstyle and stops being so aggressive.
Yeah, which happens to every, like, Orba who's new to top tier.
No,
like,
it happens
it does happen. Like.
It happens to them all. The issue is that most of them can't do that.
Yeah.
And they're actually not very... Like, look at Afro. Terrible.
But, like, Torzi, I think, did it quite well.
Fine.
Torzi was way too aggressive when he first started playing. And now he's, like, found a balance.
But it's probably because more that Dexter was sending him to die because Dexter wanted the AWP.
Well, yeah, I mean... You just said, like, Liquid just need any in-game leader. So I'm saying they should replace JKS with Dexter.
Ooh,
then see how bad Ultimate is.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I think Ultimate's better than you think he is. But he is a project. And I'm not sure the other Liquid players have the required time for a project offer to come online.
Well, yeah, and it's not that I think Ultimate's bad, because he could probably be quite good, maybe. But I think if you get, like, you know, obviously not when he's, like, doing whatever he does at 3 tournaments a year where he's just dog shit. But, like, if you get Brokey in, like, just normal Brokey form, not even, like, peak
There's no
Brokey.
such thing as normal Brokey form.
Okay, fine, but he does have, like, a... Alright, Brokey's just playing the game. He's not like Brokey's like just turned up and wants to go back and drink and gamble. Like, or like, okay, Brokey's just going to shit on everyone and FaZe will win the event. Like, that middle ground kind of thing. Like, as normal as you can be for Brokey probably just dumpsters him.
I don't know. I don't actually... It's difficult for me to know what that Brokey level is because, like... I only ever watch him shit the bed or shit on everyone. I don't think I've seen him... Like, he used to have those, like, quiet 30 bombs. That's what I used to think about Brokey. He would, like, quietly get, like, 27 kills in a game. You're like... I've not seen Brokey get a single kill, but he's top fragging and he's got 60 ADR. And he used to do that all the time, and now he kind of doesn't. But he used to be so good at that, and now he's just, like... Now you're just rolling the dice every time he plays. Ultimate, weirdly, is more stable than Brokey is. But I think Brokey's peak is just, like, insane. It's just... whether or not you get that peak is largely up to chance.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the last game, then.
Yeah.
Which was Spirit Fnatic.
I see Blame F top frag train, so they must have won that.
Oh, Fnatic did not have a good time. You'll be happy with the Nuke game where he went.
No, I did see. Yeah, I did see parts of the Nuke game. Like, my problem with watching Blame F go negative is not as enjoyable as watching him go positive and lose. Watching him go positive and lose is much funnier to me. Watching him go negative is whatever, like, because I know he doesn't do that very often. So it's like, yeah, this is just an off game, whatever. It's when he's going positive and they lose because he has no impact. It's just great.
Yeah. I mean, we disagree on Blame F, and I really can't be bothered to go into it right now. We'll do that at some point when it's more relevant.
I will say, he's not helped by the fact that his team isn't very good.
No, it's not, and I think it's a shame, to be honest. Not even just for him, but, like, I think Fear is probably a decent IGL, and I think you'd have to be a fucking miracle worker to get something out of this team.
It's weird, because, like,
Matisse is
Matisse
decent,
is decent.
but a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't know if Bermalov is good. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if he's good.
Everything I've been told about him is that he might be decent one day, but he is so far away from being ready to play in these type of games. Like probably wouldn't be ready until he's like 2021, and I'm pretty sure the kid's still 17.
Yeah, that kind of track. I do think that playing at tier 1
17.
is the quickest way to get better. If you actually have the potential, like playing above your level, you will learn very quickly what you can get away with.
Sure, but I do think there's also the degree of like you'll learn what you can and can't get away with, but whether you can apply that to your game, like in time before someone sits you down.
You get cut. Yeah.
But like, I just don't get why he's on the team. To be honest, because like if I'm
Theo was like, well, we need somebody. I know this kid.
But if I'm right
I can
in
make
saying,
him good.
Yeah, Jambo's still on Passion UA. Why didn't...
I don't think... I think Fnatic don't have much money. I think Fnatic are poor. Like, I don't think they have any money. They've been rubbish for so long. I think they're kind of just putting a team out for the sake of it.
Do they not make bank in other games? I mean, they're quite good in Valorant.
Valorant salaries are high. In League of Legends, they basically do their goal every year is to finish like top 4. Like they don't actually. They used to try and win. It used to be them and G2 were the two best by miles, and they haven't won in a long time now. They're a bit like Rangers.
I mean, I just think with this Fnatic team, like I would feel so much better about it if they had Jambo than Bermilov. Like I just don't.
I'd feel a lot better about it if they had like loads of different players in these ones. But I don't think Fnatic have the pull or the financial like.
No, probably not.
Willingness to spend what they need to make this team good, so they're just going to try and be in events.
I'll tell you one thing about Fnatic though. They are in the same bracket as MIBR for you and Big for me. Like I just don't care.
Oh, I will hate watch Blame F at any opportunity.
Oh no, I just don't ever want to watch a Fnatic game. Like,
I'll watch something. I want to see if Bermalov's actually any good. Like I want to see if there's something there. I want to see Blame F go positive and lose. It really is like, it is a dopamine hit for me. And also, I will watch Spirit play anyone because it's just Donk is just so fun to watch. Like he just will always be till the day he stops playing this game. He will just be fun to watch because he's a lunatic who also happens to be the best player in the world.
Yeah, fine. I don't know. I still find Spirit oddly boring. I don't know what it is.
It's because other than Donk, they're not that interesting to watch. Shiro is like the world's most auraless superstar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Shiro.
Zontix is an ankle biter. He's never going to have a highlight because he's his name at the head. Magic's I actually quite like,
dog.
But a lot of people think he's rubbish.
He's dog.
I think he's great.
And he should have been. He should have been kicked, which can lead us into the next story. Because he is fucking lucky he had a good major final, because I don't think he'd be on the team if he didn't.
Excellent player. Don't care what anyone says.
Not sure about
the
that.
Russian Bolts.
I'm not sure that's the compliment you think it is.
Oh, no, Bolts was excellent.
I'm not sure he was. I don't think he was decent. No, he was decent. I'm not. I don't think excellent or so good is how I describe Bolts.
Bolts was brilliant. Such a misunderstood player. So good. Bolts had basically no weakness to his game. He just got pigeonholed as like a role player, but he was so good at everything he did.
Was it crack or heroin you did when you woke up?
It was pure copium.
Right, okay. But Anyway, I don't want to talk about Bolts.
Bolts.
I haven't thought about that motherfucker for years, so let's move on from him. Now let's talk about Perfecto, because I think if Spirit hadn't have won the major, we'd probably be talking about him as a Spirit player right now.
It's weird because it felt like there were like 6 teams that could do with Perfecto, and he went to none of them and still doesn't have a team.
I think G2 could have really done with him at a point.
I think he would be I don't know if he'd be better than Heavy God, because actually
No, he wouldn't be better than Heavy God.
The way G2 plays is so reliant on just having better players than everyone else. So like, but then if they didn't have Snacks, I think Perfecto would be a better fit than Heavy God.
Well, yeah, if they'd have kept Nico and just told Nico to IGL and then kick Snacks for Perfecto, they'd probably be a better team.
Sorry, can you imagine that team? What? Poor MOUZ, what the hell is he going to do in that team?
Well, he's going to do what he does anyway.
Yeah, it's just so...
See man shoot man's head. Like...
Oh, God. And then, like, getting rid of... Like, signing Perfecto to play Snacks' role. Perfecto's really good at bad roles, but it is kind of insulting.
I mean, maybe.
We see you as Snacks. Oh, yeah, cheers.
I mean, maybe, but he ain't on a fucking team, so he can shut the fuck up.
Well, I know.
Like, I'd like to know who he's rejected, because I bet he's rejected some absolute bums that were just like, fucking 9 pandas were just like, you're right, Perfecto, like, would you come and see if you can,
give us a
take
chance.
on 9 pandas?
Well,
to be fair, I'd back Perfecto. He's a fucking unit.
Yeah. I mean, he's not bigger than me.
No, he's not, but I reckon he's big enough to give 9 pandas a solid go.
I'm quite offended.
Well, if you think you can... I'm going on the hypothetical that you can take on 9 pandas, which I still think is bullshit.
Well, no,
but
I just think I've got a chance. I don't think it's a good chance, but I think I've got a chance. They're really clumsy. You could just like hold up a red cape like a matador and then trip them up, and you'll be like, they don't fight. So I've got that advantage that I'm trying to fight them, and they're trying to like eat bamboo and sit down.
Okay, let's just talk about it, please.
Yeah, I mean, like, most teams are improved. Perfecto is similar to Spinks, where he's too good for the teams that want to sign him, but he's also too good to not be on a team. So he's just in this weird situation where he'll just be mentioned as a rumour for everyone for the next 6 months.
Do you know what the thing is, though? Like, how many teams could he realistically sign for right now?
Realistically, like, at the moment, now, none. He could have, like I say, he could have gone to G2, kind of would have made sense. If Vitality had got rid of Mezzi.
He'd probably have to change quite a lot of his roles to actually get on a team.
Yeah. He seems to me like he's a support player with the ego of a star player, but like he still, like, he knows he's a support player, but he really values himself highly. Which he should,
like,
but...
He is just someone where it's like, okay, you work best as a small site anchor.
Yeah.
And most of the teams, like, already have very good small site anchors, or their IGL is a small site anchor.
Or they're not good enough for you. Like, they're not good enough for Perfecto to be their small site anchor.
Yeah, like, so I think he's in a weird spot where it's... I actually really understand why he doesn't have a team. Yeah. I would have completely understood if, like, Vitality had gone for him over Mezzi. I would have understood if G2 had gone for him over Heavy Guard, or...
I also think Mezzi does a lot of their really aggressive work in bomb sites. I'm not sure Perfecto really did that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would have understood it. I'm not sure it would have been that good.
I actually think Mezzi would be better in that sort of role.
I think the thing is with Perfecto is that, like, more so than Spinks, because I think, you know, there's a few teams that probably could have picked up Spinks and it wouldn't have mattered and probably would have been quite good. I don't know how much room there is for Perfecto anymore. Like, I can absolutely see where he works in Spirit, I guess. Yeah. Like, you just make him anchor somewhere else and make Zontix be more active or something.
Or get rid of Zontix for him.
Or get rid of Zontix for him. But I think if you Spirit, he'd probably rather hang on to Zontics and Magics unless you kick them both. But that's not the point. I just think like maybe the meta has evolved past Perfecto.
I think the way the top teams are constructed at the moment is without a Perfecto style player.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's necessarily a meta shift because I think there'll always be a place for a player like him. It just so happens that the top teams at the moment aren't constructed like that.
Do you know where he'll probably end up?
Falcons?
That's pro.
Yeah. Yeah, electronics. Like, yeah, I need somebody who's going to...
I need someone passive. Need someone who's actually happy to be a small site anchor. Because I can't tell you, like... When do they play?
Norbert. Is Norbert still on that team? No, he's not.
No. Like, who's going to... Do they play today?
God, no, who is a small site anchor on this
They're
team?
the first game tomorrow. Like, they've got Flammus, Flip, Fame, Electronic, Icy.
I mean, obviously, Electronic should be the small site anchor, but he won't be.
Like, they're just all active players. Like, I just don't... I don't see how that team works. I think it like desperately needs Perfecto.
Yeah, it does. But I don't know who you cut for him. Flit? Who do you cut for him?
Well, you can't kick Electronic because he's the IGL. Shouldn't be, but he is. Otherwise, I would say Electronic because he's bad. And you probably kick him for an IGL at some point anyway.
Yeah.
So, whichever one of Flit or Fame plays worse?
I think Fame's better than Flit. I also think Flammus will be their small side anchor because he's the newest player, and that's just how...
Oh, he will be right now. Yeah. He shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. And he'll play badly, and Electronic will kick him for Perfecto.
Flammus is going to get pumped.
Yeah, and then they'll kick him for Perfecto and say he wasn't ready when they did what Liquid did to Grim and basically ruined his career.
Haven't they spent like $1 million on Flammus? Like maybe that will protect him.
I don't know how much they spent.
Didn't someone report? I swear someone reported.
I didn't see that.
They spent $1 million on him.
You're probably right, but I didn't see that.
I could also be chatting shit. I do that a lot, but I'm sure someone said that, and if they did, maybe that protects him, and like, hopefully, because I think he's probably quite good. Like
he is quite good. It's just
his gun round stats on Game Legion were really impressive.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
I can't be bothered to go and find them now, but they were very, very good.
Yeah, no, he's excellent. But but like you say, Perfecto, the only teams he fits in on aren't good enough to have Perfecto as a role player, and he's not a star player. So like he would improve so many of these teams, but they wouldn't be able to pay his salary, and it would just be a waste of him. So now he's just in purgatory instead.
Yeah, and I can't really see when that changes. So let's talk about another player with similar roles. I think we briefly touched on them last week, but Jimpphat signed a contract extension with MOUZ, which is really good news for them.
But it would also have been a possible landing spot for MOUZ for Perfecto.
Yeah, actually would have been.
It actually would have been if they'd lost.
But I'm not sure they would.
No, I'm not sure they would. But if they panicked and needed somebody, he's a pretty good.
I think I expect MOUZ to win an event in an arena this year. I think they'll get over some of it this year.
Exertion's the worry, isn't he?
Oh, he's the big worry.
His drop off is too severe at this moment in time. I think if I was MOUZ, if by June Exertion's still choking on stages.
Oh yeah, if you've made consistent playoffs, like what events do we have by June? Like if you make the Cato playoffs, I assume they'll be in Cluj. So if you make Cato Cluj, what the fuck is that tournament? EPL, fuck, I'm going to rant about those soon. Lisbon, Bucharest, what's IEM Spring? Is that going to be Dallas? Like that'll probably be Dallas, right?
Yeah, I think if they're not winning events,
these are all arena events, and if they then do it in Austin, and if he hasn't had a fucking good game in any of those, and you've played in all those arenas, fuck him off.
I would. I think, like, as good as he is at getting you to the playoffs, he just has the yips. Like he just can't do it on stage.
Yeah. No, at that point he's got to go because you're never gonna.
Yeah,
you're never gonna achieve what you want to achieve, and I've got an interview with Cyclone coming out in the next couple of days, and in that he said they wanted to win in an arena last year. That was their goal for last year, and they didn't. Do it, and that he thinks a lot of it is like experience or whatever. And these are all the obvious things. Like they're all the obvious things to say, and it's a good interview still.
Yeah,
but it's just like, there's a point where someone's just got to have enough experience now.
Yeah, like at some point you have to change something. Like that quote about doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. Like at some point you have to go, look, we've kept the same 5. We've given you experience on stage. You've had hundreds of games on stage, or maybe not hundreds. They've had loads of games on stage and they're still not doing it. Like,
well, I think the thing with MOUZ as well is that it's not like these players don't know how to win events. They've won events. Yeah, fine, they weren't on stage, but like they know how to be in the pressure of like, okay, there's now a few $100,000 on the line. Like they know what that pressure is like. And I was speaking to Cyclone about it, and he's like, oh, like the stage just plays different. You can use the crowd for this. You can run more. You can do this, that, and the other. And it's like, all right, but like, I've watched you play a number of best of threes on stage now.
Yeah.
And like, you've played more on stage than Spirit have. You've probably played equal amounts on stage to most of the NAVI team. Like, maybe not Vitality, definitely not FaZe. Like, there's a lot of teams you haven't played on stage more than fine. But there's teams that are winning. The 2 best teams from last year, you've won equal. Like, you've probably played equal amounts on stage, apart from the fact that you get knocked out earlier in the event. So, like, bollocks?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not inexperienced anymore. Spirit were far more inexperienced. Magix was far more inexperienced when he like stood up in the biggest game of his life and had like a career-defining game.
Yeah.
Like, some players just don't have it on stage. Stown has had plenty of chances on stage and he still don't do it.
Yeah. It's why
Exertion's one of them.
Ultimately just dog shit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Exertion he'll just be a flat track bully, I think.
I think
he still has a chance, but
I really don't think there's many players that actually like after this amount of time, and by this amount of time I mean in 6 months' time. Like if they haven't done it by then, they'll like never overcome the yips.
Yeah.
But the only one that springs to mind is Device.
Yeah, and he had. He actually was really poor in the first major final. He was He actually struggled. He just got bailed out by Kirby.
Yeah, like I think he's the only one I can think of that actually is like that, where it's like, all right, you've been doing this for fucking years now, like.
Yeah.
But Device was fortunate that there really wasn't an alternative.
Yeah, and like he was fortunate
that an alternative.
He was on a team that couldn't lose. Like,
yeah,
that Astralis team couldn't lose, whether or not he showed up. It felt like so.
There will be an alternative for Exertion, and that's the big thing.
Yeah.
What else do we have on our list? Oh, we have Bro replacing Brehze in NRG because you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because
fucking hell.
Why is Bro doing that? Why is Bro had to go all the way to NRG to find a team? He's, I was just saying about Perfecto. Like, Bro should not be on NRG. They must be paying him money. Obviously, they must be paying him a lot because he's better than that team. I don't care what anyone says. He is better than that team.
Okay, I agree. He's better than that team. But he has a better chance of playing in a major and maybe making it to a few more events that are using regional rankings to like split up their spots than he does on an EU team.
I'd have him on FlyQuest though. Who are better than NRG?
Well, I'd
have him on
absolutely have him on FlyQuest, but they're trying to pretend that, you know, Australian people know how to play Counter-Strike, which
I'd have him on M80.
Over who?
Anyone. Like, I mean, at the moment they have Keto playing, so I'd have him over Keto.
Well, fine over Keto, but I mean the issue with that is that it would turn them into a European team.
Well, I mean they could, yeah, I suppose.
So
but then I'm not sure I'd ever have had Slacks on that team, and he's been all right. So I don't know. I just think
I'd have him on Complexity.
Yeah, but they needed Americans to stay American as well, didn't they? I guess that is the problem. But like, put it this way: it'd been better on Bermilov. It'd be better than Bermilov on Fnatic.
Well, fine, but that's not hard because he's probably not going to be very good.
But
I understand why
these teams are better
NRG.
than NRG.
He'll make more money on NRG.
Yeah, it just seems like
probably
a shame.
have more opportunities.
It just seems like a shame.
Because I ain't being funny, that NRG team is probably equal to Complexity. That Complexity team ain't very good. And the NA teams, like when they do get the chance to have qualifiers, they're pretty inconsistent against each other. So NRG probably will get to be at a couple of events, and I'm pretty sure they're at Pro League, right?
I try not to think about it.
Yeah, so they're at Pro League. So that's already one thing on the board. If they do okay at Pro League, they'll push themselves a little up the rankings. I mean, they've got to go. They don't actually have to go that far because they're 32nd. I just, like... God, that team's bad. I've just looked at their team and it's like, why is Hexed on a team? Is he actually, like, playing mildly better now?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the NRG team is horrendous. Like, it's so bad. Bro is so much better than the other players on this team.
I mean, George is all right.
George was like, I liked George for the one get like.
Oh, what?
One event.
So hang on. You've backed MOUZ for years when he was like getting fucked in like garbage teams, and yes, okay, he was getting fucked, but you've given up on George after one team.
No, I've given up on George because like he had one really. Actually, he had like one good series.
MOUZ was bad for a while.
No.
He was.
You just didn't see the vision on MOUZ. George doesn't have the sauce anymore. He even changed his name from George Snorts to George.
That was bad. He did.
That is bad. Like that's what I mean. He clearly doesn't have the sauce anymore.
No, he absolutely.
He lost the snorts. He lost the sauce. It's as simple as that. George, from what I've heard, he had like real problems like comming, which is a difficult one to fix.
Same thing every fucking player has, but yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Like, I like George, but like, I hold Bro in quite high regard. Like, I think Bro is like a genuinely good player. He shouldn't be playing with Hex. It's insulting.
Yeah, but I just think it's an opportunity thing being on an NA team to an EU team. But let's move on from them because I don't want to talk about them anymore. We've got a couple of things to breeze through.
Yeah.
Pro League things was announced, and why do we still have to suffer Pro League in 2025? Like, I was going to do the thing, I was going to tell you, put a minute on a timer. I'm just going to rant. But I don't want to rant about Pro League anymore, man. Like,
it is so sad.
I'm so fucking sick of Pro League. Just get rid of it. Take it off the calendar. There are fucking 3 Australian teams in this event. Like, fuck off, man.
Are there 3?
Yeah,
Is that who house bets are?
There's FlyQuest, Mindfreak, and a team. Mindfreak have Ricky, man. Why is Ricky getting to play a LAN in 2025?
Shout out Ricky one time.
No, don't. Right. And then there's this
Shout
house
out, Rick.
bets team. Like, oh, just fuck off with your fucking pro league.
Shout out Ricky one time.
Right. So moving on, because I just don't care.
No,
The
no,
most
no.
interesting. No, the best thing about pro league, or rather the most interesting thing, because it's not actually good because it makes it worse. The most interesting thing about this season of pro league is that FaZe have decided to not fucking bother with it, just like everyone else fucking should. We're moving on. NAVI Javelins have fucked off from women's CS. They've said it's unsustainable, and it's not really hard to see why.
Yeah, so ESL lost some like grip on the calendar. Impact has fewer events. A lot of organisations are dropping out. It's not looking good, bruv.
A lot.
It's not looking good, bruv.
No, it's really not.
But on a positive note for them, leaving NAVI means they might get some invites to big events via the Valve ranking and be able to accept them. So.
And on a negative note for them, they now have no income.
On a negative note, they're going to accept one of those, get absolutely smacked, and then, yeah, they don't have a job.
Yeah. And I would like to know who the fuck is going to pick them up. Really.
Well, yeah, I
when
think...
you look at who is left, like, they're going to have to do some serious bullshitting to, like, fucking...
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like,
they have to, like,
win.
If they win a map, or, like,
What are they, Polish?
get a close map... If the Javelins get a close map at a big event, they might get signed by somebody as like look, we think we can make them a tier 2 team against men. Like that has to be their like route through.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately women's CS is going to now die a very sad and slow death.
That would be my suspicion, yeah.
I do think it's a shame, honestly.
It is a bit.
Like,
Yeah, like it is.
I think people like to hate women's CS, just for its mere existence. But like, I'm not saying I watch it because I don't. But when we were in
that's
Cato,
kind of the problem, isn't it?
when we were in Cato 23, and we were there for it, those games were good.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't watch it is because there's normally other things I was watching, like.
Yeah,
Like
well, that's the thing.
another
That's the
event
thing, like,
on or something like.
yeah, exactly. You. I only have like, I have a limited attention span. I'm only gonna like. I already don't watch MIBR games. I'm not gonna like replace it with like FlyQuest Red. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I only want to watch. People want to watch the elite at something, and unfortunately, too many of the Impact teams are not elite. And
There's a lot of them.
yeah,
the
exactly.
It might even be all of them but one.
Yeah, and even then, it's like how, like until they start like looking good against some of the top men's teams, I don't think anyone's going to take them seriously.
Well, the thing is, and it's why I am actually glad that it's Navi they're playing, because if they get absolutely, like, I'm trying to use a word now that isn't a euphemism. If they don't do very well against Navi, there we go.
Yeah.
That was sensible. Everyone's just going to excuse it.
Yeah, the cynic in me makes me think that's why they picked them.
Yeah.
It's like, because if you get like destroyed by Heroic, it's like
Well, I'm sure they said they were going to pick Saw if Saw were free.
right.
I'm sure they said that. Some team said that, and I think it was them. But the thing is, and I'm not telling you to do this, but if you were to look on their HLTV profiles, and you were to look at when they play men's teams and the caliber of men's teams they play, or perhaps you were to look on their Faceit at their whatever league they're in that isn't actually that high up, and when they play men's teams,
That's the problem, right?
You'd maybe realise, like, okay, yes, it's a very big thing that we've got a women's team at a tier 1 event, and it's really good. It is good. But they don't deserve to be there, regardless of how good they've been doing in their own scene. Because, and this is what slightly annoyed me with the announcement, like, people seem to pretend, like, oh, they'll finally get to play against men. Like, sorry, guys, but these They actually do play against men quite a lot,
Yeah, and they just lose. Like,
and they're not.
Unfortunately,
They're not very good. Like I'm pretty
No,
sure
it's-
when I looked back at Cato last year or the year before now, so I was interviewing one of them when they were still Nigma Galaxy. I think they'd played Taz's team, whatever it was.
Honor is.
Yeah, that was it. I think they played them and got absolutely fucking bodied.
Yeah, and it's
It's like this is not a good team.
It's a hard sell.
Like this is not a good team, and I think they're all really good people, and in terms of their own scene, they're fucking immense.
Yeah,
but
understand. It's a hard sell.
I understand.
I say
why
the
that
cynic in
scene
me
is
thinks
dying.
the cynic in me thinks they picked Navi because
I
if they
think so.
lose, it's like, oh, everyone loses to Navi. That's
Yeah, I think so, and I hope they enjoy the experience, and I hope they really enjoy
of course.
Cato and being there. Not that they haven't been there before, but you know, being there in that capacity. But ultimately, I think it will probably maybe be a good thing for their scene when they drop out of the Valve rankings.
Yeah, I think so. Too.
And yeah,
I don't think this is going to do much to further their cause. Let's say.
I agree, and it's a shame it's dying, but like it kind of is what it is. I'm afraid people want to watch the Elite. It's why pretty much every big streamer is Elite at whatever games they stream or multiple games. It's why Shroud instantly went to the top and Ninja went to the top. Like,
that's why people watch the Premier League and not non-league.
Yeah. Well, non-league's quite good, but that's not the point. It is in a community sense, but you don't have that with CS. So
exactly.
Yeah, I like it is what it is. Like, I'd love to crack a couple of jokes about it because it's kind of what we're meant to do here, but it's just not overly funny. It is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Because like Anna is a good player. It's just
I
unfortunately
think Cat's the one who could make it in like a tier 3 men's team. To be honest, I think the Cat's the best one.
Okay. Maybe.
Just from like what I've watched.
Yeah. I just think that's the issue though, innit? You're saying could make it in a tier 3 men's team.
Yeah, at first. Maybe she could play with Bro on NRG.
And the final thing that that we wanted to talk about, and I did keep it till last because I really didn't want to talk about it very long because I thought it was all very fucking predictable, and honestly, I don't really fucking care about it. The HLTV Awards happened.
Yeah. Wasn't there, so yeah. Hope it was miserable for everyone involved. People
got to go. People had a good time. Only Pixel was there, still annoying as ever. But that clip of him talking to Eva Elf is kind of funny.
It's only funny because of it's
yeah,
because it shouldn't happen. Like.
Free Clips Philip might have farted on some people. It's unconfirmed, and all the awards were as predictable as you thought they'd be. Anna won Best Female Player. Donk won just about everything else. Alexi B and Blade won some shit. Like,
yeah, it was. Unfortunately for HLTV, there was no suspense because Donk just obliterated.
It was all just very obvious, and that's not their fault. Like,
No,
it's really not their fault.
Their fault.
But yeah, like I'd like to go to an awards one year.
It is a fun time,
but mainly just to see people.
Yeah.
Like, for the actual thing, I just don't care, man. Like, I'm sorry.
Might go next year if I can get a babysitter.
We get it. You've got a wife and a kid. Fucking hell.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, like, is there anything about the awards or anything that you wanted to mention? Because I knew we had to bring it up. It's
quite amusing to me that Donk not only won like best player and stuff, but he also won highlight of the year. Like that's how dominant he was. It's like usually highlight of the year is just like some random clip. It's like no, this is literally Donk in a big tournament. It's like,
do you know one thing? Actually, with Donk, I was quite impressed by his speeches.
I didn't watch them.
I thought he did a decent job with them. Like, he actually made people laugh every time.
I saw quotes of him just saying, yeah, I'll talk about that when I come back up later. That was good.
Yeah, he was like, I think it was when, I can't think what award it was, but it was like, because he won 4 awards.
Yeah.
And whatever the third one was, there was like, the only one left would have been Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And he just gets up and he's like, "Hello, I'm here for the third time. Won't be the last time." And it's just like, all right, yeah, fair play.
Fair enough.
That's quite funny. I'll give you
Can't
that.
argue with that.
But yeah, other than that, it was just kind of, it is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, exactly. It's like you kind of have to mention it, but it's like, yeah, no, everyone knew Donk was the best player in the world. I guess Monacy coming second over Zywo, like obviously, but some people.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I don't think Donk was guaranteed to win until they won Shanghai. I don't think Zywo was ever really in the conversation. I think that was some propaganda bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I saw Harry sharing that some French people are going a bit mad at him, and there are some really funny replies to that tweet, by the way. I don't know if you saw the one actually. Because we said this would be a new segment, and I have just remembered this exists, I would like to read the take of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is really good. It's from a guy at 135, Mr. Green, right? I'm just gonna read this out.
Read it in French.
Oh, it's not in French, so I don't have
even
to.
better. Even better.
So it says, Harry Osipov, you're nothing but the last of the court sycophants, willing to throw away any principle just to help your master secure the throne. You will abandon every moral boundary just to please and flatter. It's absolutely repulsive. You're more contemptible than the lowest scum, secretly pocketing who knows how much dirty money. Society's decline is a result of people like you. You'd practically lick your master's boots if you could, having lost all sense of self-respect and dignity. And by the way, send my regards to your father, Monacy. That's just...
Can you send that to me so I can retweet it?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's so good. But I think, on that note, and on the fact that your lovely wife is vacuuming your apparently very, very dirty, stinky home, we'll have to leave that one there, because I've also, you know, got work to do, and you've got to go.
Yeah,
have a
I've got
man
to go out as well.
Stare at your teeth. So, I've been Sam. He's been Elliot. He's at AZS, but you already knew that, and I'm at Animo CS2, and there's one in the middle. There's people called James, and there's people called Mac, and one of them produced it, and one of them edited it. I don't know which way round it goes, and I don't know what their apps are.
James is the producer. I think it's James H. Serpa, if I remember rightly.
That's great. Thank you, Elliot. And thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.